by the end of last year, you invested in 165 different AI companies. So you were at ground zero. You know this better than anyone. There's huge anxiety that we are about to see tectonic shifts coming from AI. Just a gut check from you. How disruptive of a force are we actually about to witness?
We think AI is one of the biggest technology changes we will experience in our lifetime. People talk about the exponential rate of intelligence progression, and what that means, we have a saying, a little and then all at once, is that people are experiencing that now as we hit the steeper part of the change curve, where there's just rapid and very dramatic change because of artificial intelligence. And it's happening very broadly. It's 10x faster and 10x broader than we've seen with other platform shifts in technology. So I think that creates a question in people's minds of how do I adapt to this? How does society adapt when you have these changes happening so rapidly? And that is everything from questions about trust. If I have AI doing critical jobs for me, what's the technology that I can use to ensure that this highly intelligent computing platform is doing the things that I need it to do? It has to do with displacement, and people have questions about the work that they do.
If you are a company, who should be worried that AI is going to come and disrupt them?
Well, this 2026 is the year AI is going to go from really demos in large organizations to big deployments. The markets are pricing around that. It's this idea of agents. In the past, AI really was used only as a chatbot. Now agents act autonomously. They're handling everything from legal workflows, financial triage, software generation. Organizations are building, bespoke products around AI. So I think what we're seeing is in any organization with knowledge workers, there's real questions. The speed of this is causing people to wonder how much of what they do today could be done by AI. And if that's the case, what do I do? What is my next role? And so companies are working through that. It's just the speed of this change, the exponential rate of change is, I think, caught everyone a little by surprise.
It certainly has. And again, it's this moment of uncertainty and trying to dig it out. One of the companies you were a very early investor in is part of this change, Anthropic. I think you've been investing in it since it had less than 100 employees, 2023. Just the latest with them, because this is a very competitive market, dropping their kind of hallmark safety measures. What was your take on that? Do you think that this is the right move for Anthropic?
Well, first of all, it's an incredible company. It's in a 26-year Lightspeed investing career. This is unprecedented. This is a company that grew from 0 to 14 billion in revenues in less than 3 years, and this is really a testament to the speed with which exponential speed of artificial intelligence progression and what's happening generally with AI. And now I think Anthropic in particular has been highly focused on this idea that trust technologies, safety technologies, reliability technologies, as AI becomes more mainstream, those technologies have to exist along with artificial intelligence itself, or we really won't have a way to let these systems go be highly agentic and doing the things that they would do independently in the world, and for the world to have confidence in that. So I think they are deep technologically and understanding those adjacent technologies. It's core to their mission, and I don't think there's anything that has changed about that. Now, the realities of how you deliver those capabilities into the market, I think it's such a dynamic market that there are evolutions in how they think about exactly how they deliver. But the core mission and the core technology advantages we believe they have in trust and safety, so that we can have really confidence, so that an AI system, you won't want it as a demo. You'll really want to ship it in production, because you can know for critical application it will do what you need it to do. We think they're far ahead in that domain.
Ravi, I mean, yesterday was a great example. If you keep hearing of these different partnerships that Anthropic is stealing, and all the companies, it seems like big beneficiaries. But what exactly is the business model? Where does the revenue come from? Is it partnerships? They get money from that? Do they get the data from it? How does that exactly work out?
Right now, for all intelligence model companies, the revenue model is by letting the intelligence tokens be used by different applications, by end users, and there's a strong monetization model for that. I think in Anthropic's case, because they are so focused on the enterprise and our large institutions, public institutions in this country, the idea that you could create digital coworkers around their, highly intelligent models means that you have also an opportunity to price and have monetization around the idea that what used to be SaaS software now can be done by a digital agent. The core workflow products, you can just have a general digital coworker that performs those duties. And so there's a lot of different ways that value will be ascribed to Anthropic's technologies. It could be product, it could be SaaS replacement, it could be the fact that the work in an enterprise or a large government organization that has real value, and now the models can offload some of the lower level, kind of repeat knowledge work.
So, Ravi, I mean, you have some pretty big investments in foundational companies. Again, Anthropic, xAI. It's not every VC that has the scale, the size, the connections to be able to invest in companies like that. What happens to the rest of your peers? Is there going to be a big shakeout if you're not here and forward with the companies that are leading these changes?
Well, you're right. And Lightspeed as a platform has evolved to, we think, meet the needs of the AI technology generation. We raised $9 billion across 6 funds recently. And we're more than 165 AI native portfolio companies, 9 of the top 20 most valuable companies globally in AI, which is more than any other firm. I think our view is that the capital industry to support artificial intelligence era tech companies, it has fundamentally changed. It's raising capital or investing in these companies is 5 to 10% of what we do now. There's all kinds of other things as an investment, a VC investment platform you have to do when companies grow from 0 to tens of billions in just a few years. It's about helping navigate regulatory frameworks, strategic partnerships, all the chessboard planning across global markets. So those things are critical, not just providing the money. And you have to have capital at scale with real staying power. That's going to be, both the public markets where, investors are chasing quarterly returns. And you're right, there's a need for scale to be able to stay with these companies and help them all the way through to the other side. It just looks different than, what venture capital used to be.
So how many have been able to keep up with that? In other words, Ravi, how many kind of zombie VC funds are out there wandering around, unable to adapt and just babysitting or winding down their current portfolio?
Well, I think the other thing, when you take a company like Anthropic, when that goes from first dollar to over 14 billion in revenues in under 3 years, it does pay to be early. And, there's an opportunity, we think, for early stage funds if they can understand, again, where the trend is going, where the super cycle is going, not the current generation of technology because of how fast AI is moving. There's opportunities to invest in things that can grow and become extraordinarily valuable, but you have to be there early.
What are those things, Ravi? Because it seems like at the moment that the foundational AIs are the ones that are eating the world right now.
Again, we think that 2026 is the first year we're going to see, AI in large deployments. This is in large enterprises and public institutions go from demos to deployments. And that's really about agents and the fact that agents can really go from being, instead of chatbots, these things that do long, independent,
Ravi,
complex work.
actually, if I can jump in just on that point, does that also mean that 2026 will be the year that we start to also see mass layoffs tied to that? If you have AI agents that can all of a sudden do this work?
So far, what we're seeing is the agents let people be more productive because they can offload a lot of the repetitive tasks. And so there's an up-leveling. And most companies, and this is, again, I think, traditional enterprises is happening so fast, a lot are thinking, how do I use AI to be 10% or 15% more efficient? But the rare few that are really thinking, if I had unlimited access to intelligence, how would I reimagine how my entire company works? In those companies, we're not seeing that jobs go away, but we are seeing they have an opportunity to take the people they have and do much more, whether it's add features faster, whether it's be, more broad in their marketing coverage because people use these tools. So we're seeing that the most AI red-pilled, so to speak, companies are able to grow their market position significantly, and they're looking at that with the people they have. Now, there is some, I think, reallocation. A lot of the lower level work that is repetitive in certain parts of the knowledge work broadly in that domain for businesses is going to go to the AIs. And I think the key is going to be people have to adapt. They're going to have to learn how to exist in a world where you have both artificial labor and human labor, kind of existing side by side. So I think what you are seeing is this kind of real push for people to have to learn a new way of working, given how much these AI agents are capable of doing. And that, could cause some shifts where if people aren't able to learn and skill retrain, then the old opportunities they had